Hello, everyone. There's another Black Conservative. I'm Ryan Bowling. Thank you all for joining me. What I want to talk about in this video is Stacey Abrams, the twice failed, I believe, I think she was a senator and also a House rep, something. I know she was running to get elected, but she failed twice. That the historical Black university, Howard University, has decided to hire her on their faculty. Now, when I read this article, which you guys can read the entire article in the description box below if you so like. When I read this article, I shook my head and said, "This is not good. This is not good at all." She failed twice. I believe she tried to get elected, get picked by Joe Biden for the vice presidency, and she failed in that. Joe Biden picked Kamala Harris. Now, I'm going to give you my opinion why I believe Joe Biden picked Kamala Harris over Stacey Abrams, because Stacey Abrams' worldviews and political ideology is no different for the most part than Biden's. Okay, I mean, she fits the bill. She has a lot of radical views. So why wouldn't Biden pick her? Why would Biden pick somebody like Kamala Harris, who has no experience, from what I understand, in real politics on any real credible level? And in my opinion, I believe Biden didn't pick her because I believe Biden is racist. He's the true racist. She's dark skinned. She's ugly. I mean, I'm just telling you like it is. I hate to say it that way, but she's not an attractive person. Kamala Harris is semi-attractive, and she's light-skinned. Now, I know that sounds odd coming from someone like me, but the reason why I say that is because I believe that the history tells us that the Democratic Party was the original party of slavery, and they were the original party of Jim Crow, and they created the KKK. There is no difference of the Democratic Party during those days, in my opinion, than the Democratic Party of the day. They're still racist. They just changed their methodology and the way they express their racist views. I believe he didn't pick her because she's just dark and ugly, and he picked Kamala Harris. That's my opinion, okay? But nevertheless, she was rejected. She failed before, and I think trying to get the Senate a seat in the Senate or the seat in the House rep or whatever, and she failed. And I believe the reason for that was because her political views, as I mentioned earlier, was so far left and so radical that a vast majority of Black people out there wasn't hearing it. She was trying supposedly to appeal to the Black audience. It just wasn't working. Black people weren't thinking about that nonsense. But this is crazy because you have here a historically Black university hiring her to put her on their race and Black politics board. I mean, make her a part of their faculty to focus on race and politics. Now, I have a problem with this because if you read further in the article, it talks about how that Howard University not only has hired Stacey Abrams on their, or is contemplating hiring her on their faculty, but they have also, in the last several years, focused on hiring Black faculty members to focus on race and politics. I believe a particular individual that wrote the 1619 project that's been clearly debunked. They talked about hiring her. I cannot pronounce that woman's name. I'm not going to even try. Okay. But I think it's a woman, yeah. But they're talking about hiring her, and it's like when I see stuff like this, I can't help but ask myself the question. And I'm an avid reader of Thomas Sowell's uh, writings, and I can't help but ask myself these fundamental questions. Why is Howard University focusing so much on Black politics and Black this and Black that? Shouldn't a university like Howard University, and any university for that matter, focus on things that these young people really need to know to be able to be competitive in this world that we live in? They're so bent on trying to create a global community. How in the world are any of these people, any of these students going to be able to compete on a global level if they can't do math, history, science. What is all the focus about when it comes to this black stuff? This is not what they should be focusing on. They should be focusing on educating these young people to be competitive in a on an international level. Because truth be told, but quiet as it may be kept, other nationalities come here to this country, come to our schools and educational institutions, whether it's K through 12 or whether it's in the universities, study the same stuff to some extent that we, Native people here in America study, and pass with flying colors. And they go back to either go back to their country or they stay here and make six figures a year. Can you say that's discrimination? Can you say that's racism? Somebody promoting them over black people? No. It's because they learn how to, when I get out of school, crack that book open. And that's what they do. They focus on what needs to be focused on. But here we have Howard University, from what I understand, a relatively acclaimed university, historically black university that is focusing on racial situations. All this is doing is, in my opinion, fostering more division among blacks and whites. It seems to me that when these people leave Howard University, when these young people leave Howard University, they're not going to have the education that they should have. They're not going to be able to do advanced math or advanced science or advanced theories and being able to, they're not going to be able to do the things that they need to be able to do in order to compete on the international level, at least the way I see it. Now, let me point something out that's very important here. Conservatives have been accused of denying racism in this country. We've been accused of saying, conservatives act like racism doesn't exist. That is not true. Racism is going to always exist in this country, in Asia, in China, in every other country. Racism is going to always exist because of the darkness of the human heart. People are going to still be racist. We don't deny racism. What we challenge is the assertion from the liberal left that if a black person or a person of color is not successful in this country, it is because of some external force is stopping them to be successful. It is because of systemic racism. Some kind of institution is preventing them from being all they could be. That is a straight lie, straight out of the pits of hell. It is not factual, it's a lie, and it's keeping black people down. Because if that's true, you explain to me how from the 1920s to the 1940s, even before, I would even go as far as to say, in quoting the research of Thomas Sowell, if you can beat Thomas Sowell, please try. Prior to the 60s, blacks were highly successful entrepreneurs. They were educated for the most, certain pockets of them were educated and they were entrepreneurs. I mean, they had it all. At a time where racism was at an all-time high, particularly in the South. And yet, they still persevered in the face of the most adverse kind of opposition on a racial front. Now, let's fast forward to 2023 America. Let's fast forward after the so-called 1960s civil rights movement. Let's fast forward and see how blacks have succeeded then. We have way less than we had before. And I'm not going to go into the detail of that, but we have way less than what we had before in terms of possession, in terms of education. And I'm not talking about these celebrities, black celebrities, because these black celebrities, to me, ain't worth 10 cents. A lot of them not. Because they make all this money. They make all these black celebrities and black elite make all this money. And yet they preach and teach and support government dependency. Instead of trying to teach black people how to be independent and use your brain and develop yourself, what do they teach? Government dependency. So I don't even want to speak on them. They're an embarrassment to the black race. They're an embarrassment to me. I don't even want to speak on them. They full of crap. When you have educational institutions like this that focuses on this type of stuff, I believe it only fosters more division, which is exactly what the Marxists want. Y'all know I'm gonna keep saying that until the day I die, because that's what this is all about. It is an attempt to keep us divided. Because anytime, because I'm gonna tell you something, and I'm gonna begin to sum this video up. Anytime blacks begin to see the light and see what's really going on and say, wait a minute, we're being manipulated, blacks and whites. But I'm speaking about blacks in particular here because of this whole idea of Howard University hiring Stacey Abrams on their faculty. If blacks collectively in this country start to see the light of what the elite Marxists are doing to them, they're going to wake up and say, wait a minute, hold a minute, we need to stop. This is not, you're telling me I can't be successful. You're telling me that I can't be anything, that I'm inherently oppressed and I don't know it. How in the Hell am I going to be inherently oppressed and I don't know it? Tell that to Jay-Z. Tell that to Beyonce, that they're inherently oppressed. Because that's what CRT teaches. That's what critical race theory teaches, that which is being taught in the schools. And don't let nobody tell you that it's not being taught in the schools. That's a lie from the pits of hell. They just changed the name up. They may not call it critical race theory, but when you do the research and you read the curriculum, it's critical race theory. It demonizes white people and say that you are racist simply because you're right, and it demonizes black, and it projects upon black people this idea that you are inherently oppressed and there's nothing you can do about it. The government has to come in there and help elevate you out of your inherent oppression. That is a lie from the pits of hell. Don't fall for that, people. That's a Marxist attempt to keep us divided so that they can create their socialist/communist revolution, tear this country down, and rebuild it again. That's their attempt. But the devil is a lie. Stacey Abrams is a failure. She was a failure then and she's a failure now. And of course she's going to take the position. It pays, and I'm pretty sure it pays her well. She's a failure. I did a video on her some months ago, and it had to do with abortion. I forget exactly what it was, but I said, this woman's sick. No wonder nobody voted. No wonder no one supported you. Where were the masses of black people that you were trying to appeal to during that time when you was campaigning? Where were they? I'll tell you where they was at. They was like, oh, you crazy. What kind of mess are you talking about? They didn't want to support that crap. And it's the same thing now. What are you going to be talking about? Race and politics. Is this what we as black people need right now? Black people in this country need to be empowered. We need to be taught how to be independent. We need to be taught, hey, we can do whatever it is we set our mind to do. That's mind control, and it needs to stop. It needs to stop. But I just wanted to say that, man. You guys can read this article, see for yourself. Like I said, I'm gonna sum this video up and just say that I'm not hating, but then again, I am hating. I'm hating what this represents. I'm hating what Howard University is doing here. I'm hating what Stacey Abrams represents. We are not victims. We are not oppressed. That's my say on it. That's my spin on it. What do you guys think? Leave your comments in the comment section below. Like, share, and subscribe to my channel. God bless you all, and see you again.